Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality. While listening, you'll be exposed to inspiring, empowering, and unifying perspectives that I'm highly confident will yield stellar results in your life if you opt to try them on for size. Also, at optimistic.tv, we have officially begun releasing the first few episodes of our new late-night style, consciousness-elevating video variety talk show, Optimistic, which features live visionary art, soul share interviews, retreat guests here at the Mystic Manor, as well as live musical performances. I'm also super excited to announce that we are currently making plans to release the rest of Season 1 on my personal favorite online streaming service. So stay tuned to optimistic.tv to follow the unfolding development of this exciting Optimistic expansion, as we'll be posting more info and release dates there soon. And in the meantime, be sure to check out, of course, the first few episodes at optimistic.tv as well.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, lately I've had this topic on my mind of getting back to nature and really remembering our roots. Because when we commune with nature, when we harmonize with nature, when we get back to nature, we remember our roots. And I think that is super important for all of us right now with everything going on in the world. And I find it so interesting that as a human society, we are still behaving in this way where we feel like nature is a force to be reckoned with. And it is so not, right? Nature is a force to harmonize with. Nature is the most powerful force. Think about that for a second. When nature wants to do something, nature's going to do it. We can try as human beings all we want to negate or put things off or mess with nature. But nature will always find a way to come back to itself. I think about the fruit fly experiment, and I think they either took away the eyes or the wings, and I don't remember which. Regardless, within a few generations, those parts grew back because of the codes that are written in nature. We always go back to the original code because nature has a pattern, nature has a plan, and that plan always wins. And so as humans, why do we try to reckon with this amazing force? Instead, we should be harmonizing with it. We should be learning from it, living in unison with it, just like nature does. Think about trees and how they communicate with one another. They grow huge root systems, which then connect to fungal networks, which then connect to one another from other trees and send messages and nutrients. It is this beautiful symbiotic relationship. This symbiotic relationship exists within all of nature. It exists within our own bodies. We can look at nature and we can see how things are supposed to be. And this reminds me of a Facebook post I saw recently by a beautiful listener, Emma. Beautiful soul. I just love you so much. And I thank you for posting this. And I'm going to read it because I think this is such a beautiful reminder. This post is a quote by Saint Seraphim of Sarov, and it comes with such a beautiful picture of a man drinking from the creek with his horse. And I'm a horse lover, and so this really spoke to me. Drink water from the spring where horses drink. The horse will never drink bad water. Lay your bed where the cat sleeps. Eat the fruit that has been touched by a worm. Boldly pick the mushroom on which the insects sit. Plant the tree where the mole digs. Build your house where the snake sits to warm itself. Dig your fountain where the birds hide from heat. Go to sleep and wake up at the same time with the birds. You will reap all the day's golden grains. Eat more green. You will have strong legs and a resistant heart, like the beings of the forest. Swim often, and you will feel on earth like the fish in the water. Look at the sky as often as possible, and your thoughts will become light and clear. Be quiet a lot, speak little, and silence will come into your heart, and your spirit will be calm and full of peace. A little lesson, lots of lessons from nature. You know, if we took the time to just pay attention a little more. I was reminded for a few mornings, actually, of the passage I read from the bird tribes a few weeks ago about listening to the birds in the morning, and they will tell you what kind of a day it's going to be. And interestingly enough, on these first few days, or on these days that I was listening, paying attention, I should say, to the way the birds were behaving. And I was paying attention because it was odd. It was different. I noticed they were fighting, and there were birds attacking each other's nests. I have a lot of big trees in my yard, and the birds love to build nests, which is amazing. But I was noticing so much fighting this day. And what happened in those few days was just a lot of upheaval in the world. And so what that reminded me of is just paying attention to nature. It will tell you everything that we need to know. All of the plants, all of the minerals, all of the earth's creatures, they're constantly speaking to us, communicating with us, telling us what we need to know. It's just, we're not paying attention, really. There's a wonderful book. It's called Plant Spirit Medicine by Eliot Cowan. And it talks about getting to know the spirits of the plants and asking the spirit of the plant for help in healing. And that is the only way that the plant can help you, is if you ask the spirit for help, is if you get in touch with the spirit of that plant. I'm going to read a tiny excerpt from this book where the author, Eliot, had a dream of a plant spirit. And this is one of the best ways to communicate with plant spirits is through dreams, or communicate with any nature spirits for that matter. Communicate with crystals through meditation, through dreams. So he says, "For the first time, I am dreaming with a plant. English plantain is growing here, and I see a young woman with enormous wings sprouting from her shoulders. Somehow, I know she is the plantain spirit. I approach her and introduce myself. She asks why I have come. First of all, I reply, I want to thank you for the help you've given my friends and me over the years. Your leaves have healed many wounds. I come to visit you to ask for another kind of help, a deeper kind. The cuts and scrapes of my people are nothing compared to the pain in our hearts and the pollution in our minds. Can you help relieve this kind of suffering too?" The plantain woman hops off her leaf and flies close to me. For a moment, she hovers in front of my face and looks intently into my eyes. Then she smiles and says, "Of course I will help you. My brothers and sisters will help also. We are very happy to do this. In fact, we've been waiting for 200 years for someone to ask us for this kind of help. We can do nothing unless we are asked." Wow, right? Like 200 years waiting to ask, waiting for someone to ask. And that's all it takes, is communing with nature and asking for its help. And our mother, she is our mother. She will teach us everything we need to know. If you think about it, the power of all life resides in a seed with codes in it, created by nature. And a forest of 1,000 trees starts with one single seed. It's really amazing to think about that you and I came from these tiny little seeds that we can't even see, with these codes in them that described exactly what our form was supposed to be. And behind all of this is consciousness, because all is mind. And that consciousness, if we could define it in another word, would be love. Love is all that we are. And when we look to nature, we remember that. We see how much nature is so loving. Loving to itself, loving to one another, living in a very cooperative manner, not competitive. The branches of a tree do not fight amongst themselves. The cells of the body in a healthy state do not fight amongst themselves. We are naturally programmed to cooperate, to commune together, to live in harmony with one another. And when we get back to nature, we remember this. And so I want to encourage all of us to get our feet on the earth, to breathe some fresh air, get out in the sunlight. It is so important to remember our roots. There's a good reason for that metaphor. Obviously, I don't need to explain it, yeah? So interestingly enough, I did a session today, a QHHT session, where the woman experienced going back to a life of a fairy. And what had happened in this life is that she was happily living in her tree, and she would go and pick a berry from a local berry patch, and she would bring it home, and that was what she would eat for the next couple days. And what eventually happened was that they started cutting down the trees, and they had a meeting of the Fairy Council to talk about what they could do. And what was very unfortunate is that because the humans couldn't see them, couldn't hear them, they were voiceless and powerless. And their whole purpose was to be protectors of the forest. But the people who were doing this couldn't see them, and they couldn't understand what they were doing. And so they couldn't do their jobs. And this made them really sad and really angry. And she actually carried this into this lifetime. Her higher self told her that the purpose of showing her that lifetime was to remind her that she was a part of nature. And they also wanted to stress to her at the end that it was really important for her to get back into nature and to be closer to the earth, to enjoy every single moment. Because by being closer to the earth, in yourself, by yourself, for the earth, you're actually healing everyone. Because by doing that for yourself, you heal the whole. And what's very synchronistic about this is that I was going to actually record this episode this morning before I did my session, and that didn't happen. And I went into the session, and this is what she started talking about. So, of course. And she also had a really beautiful tree tattoo, which I couldn't stop staring at as she was talking about being a fairy, which I thought was very interesting. And there's a reason why she has that tattoo, because she's so aligned with trees, because she remembers it so well from that last lifetime. And we have all had lives where we are more at one with nature before this one, I can promise you. And all it takes is just a little remembering. You know, it's interesting too when I think about all the indigenous cultures who have never forgotten. And then I look at our industrialized nations, and I look at the difference. And it makes me really sad. And so I think it's a really easy fix. We remember who we are. We get back to the earth. We appreciate her. We love her. And we ask her for help. There's so many ways she can help us. And we can help her. One touch of nature makes the whole world kin. William Shakespeare. We will all remember our connections when we remember our mother. I love you all so, so, so much. That's it for me today. I'm going to leave you with this really great song, which I think is a really great song anyway, from Drum Spider called Forest Lovers. Until next time, love you all.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
Bye.